various terms are bandied about to do with problem-based learning, design-based learning and so on. Could you just explain your version of those in the engineering field?
I think we do a range of things. Problem-based learning, I'd probably say, comes from, for me, it's the slightly more closed problems that we give students early on when they're applying their knowledge to, or their technical knowledge to solving some of them quite difficult technical problems, but they're often quite closed problems. What I do, certainly and my background has been, is design-based or project-based learning. And we will give students quite a complex problem, very open problem. One of the ones we've been developing recently is, we've called it our integrated design project, and it starts off at a very social level. In civil engineering, we're involved in in engineers taking quite controversial projects to the public and having to defend their ideas. So we get students to do that to start with, but then we ask them, we give them a scenario. This year it's been devising or designing a new university campus, a satellite campus for Sheffield University, based at on a slightly different area of Sheffield. It's actually an old disused gasworks site, which is highly contaminated, or has been highly contaminated, so they need to think about that. There's a possibility of flooding because it's close to the river. We asked them to look at the overall way the site works. They've got to think about how the transport gets in, how people move around the site, but also then design multi-storey buildings, so it could be accommodation blocks, could be library areas, but also a deep basement for archiving. So obviously that's where you think about the contamination, because you're going to have to excavate the material, you've got to go down, what's the bearing capacities of the ground. Also, getting them to think about their technical knowledge, but apply it to a much wider project with other complex issues, where they're actually integrating their knowledge across different disciplines within civil engineering.
So this is much more open-ended than what you would call, or have called, problem-based learning. Much
more open-ended,
because the outcomes could be many and varied.
And every group comes up with a different solution. Yeah. And just as every architect comes up with a different solution, and engineers will respond to those, or every civil engineer, when they're designing their infrastructure, will develop a different solution. And the point then is that they have to justify those solutions, and some of that's by technical application, but it's also by balancing up all of the conflicting requirements of that project. And so students are then going through the design, they're understanding the design process, the iterative nature of the design process, with all of those things. At the end of it, they output a series of drawings and a report explaining their designs, considering things like health and safety of the constructors and of the people using the project, etc. And when they've produced their drawings, right at the end of the project, we say, right, your group has produced this set of drawings, but as in reality, the people who've designed it don't construct it. Can you communicate your designs effectively? So we take Group A's drawings and give them to Group B to construct, and Group B's drawings and give them to Group A to construct. And we only do it in model size, so they're using wood and balsa and nails and that sort of thing, but they have to construct the design. And if there's a lack of communication, if all the information's not on the drawings, they send a request for information, just as would be done in industry, back to the design team saying we need this, and that information has to be provided in a timely manner so that the construction team can actually build the model. At the end of the week, this is where we do get some peer assessment going on, because the group that have built the model will comment on the quality of communication through the drawings, etc., of the design team, and the design team will review the accuracy of build and interpretation of their build by the construction team.